Well, the Chiefs not only got the job done on New Year's Eve against the Bengals, but they completely shut down Ja'Marr Chase's loudmouth and eliminated the entire team from the playoffs in the meantime. So let's get into the biggest takeaways, highlights, stats, and even take a look at where the Chiefs are playoff-wise after this victory. But first, how about those? All right, first off, Happy New Year's to you guys. I took the day off basically to spend it with the fam, so this video is a day late, but I know you guys will understand. Hope you had a good and safe one. Anyway, to start this game out, the Chiefs won the toss and deferred, with Jake Browning and company getting things going early on by converting on a key 3rd and 9, with Browning using his legs to get it done and got absolutely stonewalled by Mike Edwards. Browning used his legs again on the next 3rd down via a quarterback sneak, and this was far from the last time he would scramble around in this game. Since he then converted a big 3rd and 7 on this 19-yard connect to T. Higgins. Thankfully, though, Charles Omenihu batted down a pass on 2nd down, and the defense held strong, forcing the Bengals to settle for a field goal. However, the Bengals ran 15 plays on this drive, taking nearly 9 minutes off the clock, slowly wearing and tearing on the Chiefs defense early on in this game, which will come into play a bit later. Now, Kansas City's first drive was actually one of their best all year. They went 75 yards in just 7 plays in under 3.5 minutes. Isaiah Pacheco, who just barely cleared concussion protocol in time, got involved early, as did the rookie Rashee Rice on this quick pass for 18 up the right side. Pacheco then blasted through on the very next play for 35 yards thanks to his quick speed and some great blocking by the O-line. And Pacheco wasn't done there, because a couple plays later on 3rd and goal, the Chiefs stacked 4 pass catchers up on the right side, and Pacheco found himself wide open for the score. Touchdown, Kansas City. The Chiefs were now up 7-3, but it didn't last long, because the Bengals had yet another long, effective drive, thanks in part to a big 24-yard pass to Ja'Marr Chase on 3rd and 2, couple of strong Mixon runs, as well as a touchdown by Mixon, making that back-to-back drives with a running back catching a touchdown pass. And with the score now 10-7, we needed a nice drive from Kansas City to hopefully at least tie the game up with a field goal. Well, we then unfortunately got a glimpse of what we've been seeing from the Chiefs offense off and on all year, and that was another costly turnover deep in their own territory when Trey Hendrickson won his rep against the rookie Wanye Morris on 3rd and 7, strip sacking Mahomes as he went to throw, and Cincinnati recovered, making this drive for the Bengals offense a very short one. So hats off to Hendrickson here, and just some unfortunate luck for KC, who has really struggled with turning the ball over this season, the most turnovers of any Andy Reid offense since he's been in Kansas City. But back to this Bengals drive. It still took 8 plays and almost 4.5 minutes off the clock, because the Chiefs defense did their best to hold them. However, a clutch off-script play by Browning on 3rd and 2 moved the chains, and then on 3rd and goal, Sneed drew a pass interference when in coverage on Ja'Marr Chase. That gave them the ball at the 1. 1st and goal, and on 3rd and goal, Jake Browning was able to scramble in for a score of his own. Nice little juke move there at the end, which then had KC trailing 7-17. And the craziest part about this game so far was Cincinnati was absolutely dominating the time of possession, over 18 minutes for Cincy and just around 4 minutes for Kansas City. And the reason why that made me nervous is because the defense has continued to carry the team all season long, and the last thing we needed for them was to get exhausted early on in this game. So all you could hope for next was a long, calculated drive from Kansas City after this, and sadly, they only took a couple minutes off the clock, which wasn't ideal. But the good news here is it's because they were able to quickly move down the field thanks to Noah Gray on the first play for 16 yards and Isaiah Pacheco for 21 yards on the very next. The drive stalled out on 3rd and 6, though, via a rare and unfortunate misconnect from Mahomes to Kelce, but Harrison Butker was thankfully able to nail this 54-yard bomb, his first of 6, not a typo, 6 field goals on the day, which is why I easily give Butker the MVP game ball in this one. Butker would then return a few plays later to try field goal number 2 after the Bengals quickly went 3 and out, thanks in part to Nick Bolton and a clutch drop by their tight end Hudson. Thank you so much, man. Then also thanks to Isaiah Pacheco exploding out of the backfield on this play here for 37 yards. And the reason why Butker had to return is sadly because MVS dropped a catchable ball on 3rd and 3 via this shallow crosser that was maybe a little bit behind him, but that's because Joe Thuney stepped on Mahomes' ankle as he was about to throw the ball, which threw Mahomes off a tad. But listen, MVS is getting paid $11 million to catch the football, so please Will you start doing just that? Honestly, I'm not going on an MVS rant because I'm not mad at MVS anymore. He's regressed pretty badly and has proven it every week. I mean, we're heading into week 18, so this is who he is. I'm more frustrated that the coaches keep putting this man out there and giving him opportunities. This man had the second most offensive snaps in the wide receiver room, 38, only behind Rice, who had 42, and was targeted 3 times, catching 1 pass for 3 yards. That's literally the least amount of receiving production from anyone on both teams that caught a pass. And speaking of drops, that's exactly why I released this new shirt. I dropped, see what I did there? This new design. It's available on my merch store that says, "Stop the drops," along with several other newish designs that you can purchase as a way to support the channel. And another way is by snagging some HBTC coffee of bench warmer brew that will help you wake up after a sleepless night when the Chiefs lose, or get you further jazzed in the morning after a sleepless night when the Chiefs win and you spent the entire night trolling the opposing team on social media. Either way, buying a bag of coffee is another great way to support the channel. But back to this game, because after that MVS drop, Harrison Butker kicked his second field goal of the day to make this a 4-point game at halftime. And while KC did start out with the ball, they quickly went 3 and out after a short run, a short pass, and an incompletion to Justin Watson, who almost was able to reel in a pretty difficult catch. Special teams went crazy though, with Joshua Williams instantly tackling their returner, making Cincinnati drive the field, to which they did, converting a clutch 3rd down to Hudson for 14 yards. Then Jamar Chase snagged one for 14 as well. Then on 3rd and 9, Joshua Williams got beat by Higgins and drew a 30-yard pass interference call, which honestly saved a touchdown in my opinion. So I'm going to take it, because Cincinnati actually ended up being held inside the 10, opting to go for it on 4th and 1, which was the right call in my opinion. If it was the Chiefs, I would be begging them to go for it. But Willie Gay Jr. shut that ish all the way down, tackling the running back for a loss and forcing a turnover on downs. And this meant KC had to drive the field 91 yards if they wanted a touchdown, and it looked like they might do just that. MVS won his route on 1st down, and Mahomes targeted him deep left to no avail, which surprised me 0%, but no problem, because Justin Watson can do it, catching an easier ball though, if we're going to be fair, but a huge one on 3rd down for 41 yards. Rashee Rice then took this one for 24 yards to bring Kansas City inside the 20. However, Butker was eventually brought out to kick his 3rd field goal of the day and make this a 1-point game. Chiefs trailing 16-17 with 4.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. The Bengals then started their drive with a well-called 19-yard screen pass in which the Chiefs forgot how to tackle, but they held strong after that, not allowing another 1st down by getting enough pressure on Browning to cause him to be off on his throw. Then on the punt, Richie James, for whatever reason, decided to catch the ball in the end zone and take it out for just 10 yards instead of allowing a touchback. James said on X, formerly known as Twitter, that he told himself he was going to field this one regardless and tried to be aggressive. He made the decision and now has to live with it. But yeah, he probably wouldn't have done that again if he could go back in time. Oh well though, because Rashee Rice caught a 1st down to bring them up around the 20 anyway. And then on the very next play, Rice broke open the right sideline and took it 67 yards all the way from KC's 22 to the Bengals' 11-yard line. And not only was this the biggest pass play for the Chiefs all year long, but it was also a play that was never designed to happen. The original route called for Rice was a short hitch route, I believe, meaning he was supposed to go up a short distance and then come back quickly for the ball, but instead, based on the coverage that Rice saw, the corner was on the outside with the safety further away. Rice knew pre-snap he may have a chance to just keep going downfield and make a play for Mahomes if he got separation. Well, Mahomes saw this as well, and boom! 67 yards just like that, which is hopefully a sign of more of this to come between Mahomes and Rice sooner rather than later. But sadly, once again, the Chiefs weren't able to score a touchdown in the red zone after 3 tries by Pacheco, and they then settled for Harrison Butker's 4th field goal, putting them up 19-17 to start the 4th quarter. The Bengals then went 3 and out thanks to a nice stop by Justin Reed on 1st down. Then on 3rd, Browning was flushed from the pocket by basically everybody and couldn't make it happen. So KC did get the ball back after Cincy's 3rd punt of the evening, and this drive featured several Pacheco runs to drain the clock, converting a key 3rd and 1 with him. Then Kelsey caught a 1st down for 10 yards, moving the chains and staying in bounds. Then after a couple more Pacheco runs and a Mahomes scramble, they were just shy of the 1st down. So on 4th and 1, they brought out Nick Allegretti as an extra lineman, putting him in motion to the right as window dressing for a potential run. Then Mahomes ran a quick rollout and got just enough himself for a first down. A few plays later on 3rd and 5, though, Mahomes didn't hold the ball long enough to see Kelce get open and checked it down to Pacheco instead, causing Butker to kick his 5th field goal of the day. Thankfully, that drive ran almost 7 minutes off the clock and put KC up by 5 with 6 minutes left. And Jake Browning then proceeded to get hit with an intentional grounding call on first down that I'm not so sure I agree with, but you know what? I'm going to freaking take it. Then a couple plays later, Karlaftis and Minihue got to Browning to make that 4th and 24, setting up another punt, and Richie James had an incredible punt return for 27 yards as he ran diagonally across the field and out of bounds. And while Mahomes and company were only able to go 4 plays for 9 yards, Andy Reid kept it conservative on 4th and 1, opting for a 6th Harrison Butker field goal that was good for 46 yards, and then gave the Chiefs an 8-point lead. So this was do or die time for the Bengals, who were trailing by 8 with 3 minutes to go in the game. And while they were able to start moving early on in the drive, the defense turned on the Jets with Justin Reid sacking Jake Browning on back-to-back plays, setting up a long 4th and 18 that Browning actually converted via a nice thrown pass to Tyler Boyd for 23 yards. George Karlaftis then got to Browning again on first down, this time beating Orlando Brown Jr. via some poetic justice type stuff. And with that sack, he's the first non-Chris Jones defender to hit 10 sacks in a season for KC since D Ford in 2018. On top of that, through 33 regular season games, Karlaftis has totaled 16.5 sacks, which is actually 1 sack more than the legend Tamba Hali got in 33 games. So, safe to say that Karlaftis was a great pickup for KC in last year's draft. And speaking of sacks, the CEO of Sack Nation himself, Chris Jones, then got to Browning on the very next play, making that the 4th sack on this man in just 5 plays. I almost feel bad for him, kinda, not really at all actually, because it's the Bengals. An absolutely incredible showing by the Chiefs defense that set up a long 3rd and 27, and thanks to another Chris Jones pressure, it forced Browning to miss his open man Irwin, and on 4th and 27, Browning had to throw up basically an incompleted prayer to Higgins, thanks to tight coverage by Josh Williams and Shamari Connor, and that was all she wrote. The Chiefs got the dub, locking up the AFC West for the 8th consecutive year, making that the 2nd longest streak of consecutive division championships for any team since 1970, only trailing the Patriots, who won 11 straight from 2009 to 2019. And if that wasn't sweet enough, that win also officially put the Bengals out of the playoffs, as well as the Denver Broncos, who needed the Chiefs to lose out the last 2, with them winning the last 2 in order to win the West. So, see you later, Broncos, and so long, Bengals, once again, you little losers. And of course, upon the Chiefs' W, everybody went after Jamar Chase, who talked a ton of trash, pretty much unnecessarily so, on the Chiefs' secondary in the lead up to the game, then proceeded to get absolutely clamped on game day, catching just 3 passes for 41 yards. And the craziest part of that is Chase was somehow the team's leading receiver. Some Chiefs players had things to say about Jamar Chase after the game as well. Justin Reid epically shared this gif of a cat eating tuna, referring to Jamar Chase tweeting out tuna in a can last season. Sneed told reporters after the game to check Chase's stats. Chris Jones also had a brief message for Jamar.
Another AFC West Championship in the books. To be continued. And Jamar Chase, try again.
And while Jamar and Sneed had a little spat during the game, only Chase was flagged because he doesn't know how to control his emotions, similar to a 7-year-old child. And even after getting clamped all game long, catching, again, just 3 passes for 41 yards, you'd think Chase would actually be a bit humble in defeat, but nah. For whatever reason, he doubled down instead on his inflated ego, giving a very odd response when asked about all this after the game.
I don't know what he was doing. I just be under people's skin sometime, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So MF won't fight me, so it's all right. Just trash talking. Can't handle it.
This man really said, MFer won't fight me. The point of football isn't to throw hands. This isn't the UFC. It's not how it works. You got dominated all game long, so badly, in fact, that Next Gen Stats put out a post that said L'Jarius Sneed aligned across from Jamar Chase on 21 of his 34 routes, which was 61.8%, allowing 2 receptions for 27 yards on 3 targets. Chase gained fewer receiving yards than expected, -6, for the first time in his 5 career games against the Chiefs. So yeah, the talk may never stop flowing from this man's mouth, but he got shut down. And Jamar, like the rest of the Bengals, got sent home / eliminated from the playoffs twice in the same calendar year by the Chiefs, which feels so good. A fantastic New Year's gift given to us by the Kansas City Chiefs, so thank you very much. Now, with that being said, were the Chiefs perfect? No, they were 3 for 12 on third down, had a turnover deep in their own territory, and were just 1 for 3 in the red zone. However, Mahomes was 21 for 29, throwing for 245 yards and a touchdown, but also that strip sack that we can't forget about. Pacheco had 18 carries for a career most 130 yards, a 7.2 average, and then he had 7 catches for 35 yards and a touchdown as well, bringing his scrimmage total to 165 yards. Good God almighty, I'm glad he was able to clear concussion protocol because CEH was out sick and Pacheco was needed very badly, and he did not disappoint. Then Rashee Rice had himself a career day as well, catching 5 passes for 127 yards. And here's something pretty crazy. If you total up Rice's and Pacheco's total yards on the day, it's just 9 yards shy of the Bengals' entire offensive production. They had 104 rushing yards and 197 passing yards. We're not counting the yards lost on the Browning sacks, but that totals 301. Meanwhile, Pacheco and Rice combined for 292 total yards by themselves, which is insane. So, game balls to both of them, yes please, as well as take your freaking pick on the defense. Maybe Justin Reed, he had 8 tackles and a couple of sacks on back-to-back plays. Karlaftis had a sack and a half himself. Sneed could get one as well for holding Jamar Chase down, or maybe the entire defense can get one because they once again held an opposing team to 20 or fewer points, doing so a league most 12 games this season. And I know some of you are bummed that Butker had to kick 6 field goals. I am too, to an extent, but here's the thing. The Chiefs put up 25 points because they were able to move the ball pretty well on offense on multiple drives. And while they only got into the end zone once, a dub is a dub is a dub. And 25 points is fine enough for this team to get the job done most of the time with the way the roster is currently built and the defense playing so great and basically carrying the team. In fact, had they scored just 25 points in every game this season, they would only have 1 loss. Insanity. So a performance like this could, in theory, be enough to get the job done in an upcoming playoff game. However, the Bengals defense isn't elite this season by any means, so time will certainly tell there, but with this victory, the Chiefs locked up the division and the 3 seed, which means they can rest their starters if they'd like this Sunday against the Chargers because win or lose, they stay the 3 seed regardless. And with all that being said, what are your thoughts on this performance by the Chiefs? Does this give you a little more confidence heading into the playoffs or not really? Let me know either way in the comments down below. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?